Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino back with another Survivor 46 post-game interview. And today we have the honor and the pleasure to speak with somebody who I think is one of the most fascinating figures of Survivor in any era. It's Quintavious Burdette. And today we'll talk with Q and hear what he had to say about his game in our latest post-game interview. Already so far in this postseason, we talked with Charlie, we talked with Liz, and today we're going to get the chance to talk with Q about his game. There's so much to unpack with Q, so very excited to have the chance to talk with him. Hope you are too. I suspect you might be. Of course, you can leave us your comments on our YouTube video as you go ahead and watch. And if you missed our previous interviews, make sure you're subscribed to both the podcast and our YouTube channel so you don't miss anything. So without further ado, let's bring in my conversation with Q. Hey Q, what's going on?
What's up, man? I'm happy to be here. This is my first. You got the exclusive, dude. You got the #1 podcast after season 46 from Q.
Okay. Well, I'm very excited to get into this. I've been really looking forward to this since the season had ended. So really appreciative that you made some time to talk after the show's been over. How have you been doing?
Man, I have been living, having fun. We got the Cumios going, a lot of traveling, playing some pickleball with some contestants and having a baby. Man, we have a lot of excitement in my world right now. And, of course, we're still selling a lot of real estate and buying real estate. But overall, been fun.
Yeah. How do you have time to get all your work in with all the Cumios and pickleball and everything else you're up to?
See, that's what happens when you have an opportunity to build something over the last 5 years that can kind of run itself now. So I orchestrate my days so I can get 4 points a day. And when I get 4 points, man, I move on to something different. And I wake up early. I try to go ahead and knock out my real estate work. So then I can have fun the rest of the day with the Cumios, with Instagram, with going out playing pickleball, whatever events is going on. So that allows me the time that I need, really.
Before we came on, you were telling me about your 4 points that you get every day. Could you explain that really quick? And then did you apply that to Survivor the way that you do that in real life?
Yeah. So my 4 points, I created this when I first started in real estate. It was my way of continuing my athletic career in a way that it motivates me every single day to get up and try to get after it. So, 4 points represent a contract. If I get a contract, that's 4 points. If I get a seller to say, hey, Q, sell my house, that's 2 points. If I get a buyer to say, hey, Q, show me some houses, that's 1 point. And if I can meet potential customers looking to do business within 90 days, that's a half a point. Every day I wake up, regardless of what happened yesterday, I try to get 4 points the next day as well. And on Survivor, that helped me in a way, just understanding my people skills. When I built my business, I had to go out and talk to random people, but I had to do it on a daily basis. And the same thing with Survivor, you had to change and switch, but it just kept me motivated to go.
Yeah. Did you assign points to yourself in Survivor? Okay.
So it was two totally different things.
Yeah.
And I wish maybe I should have. I should have put points in there to play an idol, because I definitely would have played it if I would have had a point to play it. But it's just one of those things that stayed with me throughout my athletic career, then moved into my business. And after on Survivor, let me just tell you, anything you thought of that you wanted to do, could do, it left the second you touched foot on the island, because it got real.
One of the things that you said in the show was that you were somebody that was going to change the way that the game is played. Yep. Do you feel like you did that? And if so, how?
Yeah, I feel like I gave folks permission to just be themselves, to play the way that they think they want to play, regardless of the outcome. Something that I was big on out there on the island is, why target all the folks who are just physical threats, like Hunter? Why target those folks? Why not try to band together and try to take them to the end and have it to where the best are versus the best at the end, versus, you get one or two people that decides, oh no, I'm afraid to go up against this one person. And now everybody's feeling the same. And now you're taking out people who should potentially be at the end to give the show the best result possible. So I was always challenging folks, hey, let's stick together. Hey, let's go up against real competition at the end this time. Well, the only thing that led to is all of the real competition going home. And it's part of it though, but I wanted to change that.
Do you feel like that it did get changed in any way, or do you feel like that people are still looking at it as you called it, Tiffany? You said Tiff was trying to play the GOAT game. Do you think that people are still looking at the game the same way?
I think a lot of folks do, but you have to understand, they're playing a game to get to the end to give them the best chances to win $1 million. Now, taking the three players who are just as good as them to the end, it's probably not smart to them, and a lot of folks actually, it's probably not smart. But for me, it's exactly what I've always wanted. I always want to be in a room full of the best. I always want to go up against the best because there's nothing like winning when you're sitting next to the best. If you're sitting next to someone and everybody thinks it's just a GOAT and you win, perfect. You got yourself there, you brought them there, but it kind of put an asterisk next to that win a little bit. If you get to let's think about winners at war in a sense. Tony's win against Natalie, I thought was much more magnified unless it was somebody else that they didn't feel like needed to be there. So I just wanted our season again, just to have an opportunity to have threats going to the end to compete for that title. But again, it wasn't the case.
So I'd love to talk a little bit about this first part of the game that you were in back at Yanu. And I'm sure you could have never imagined coming in and being part of a group that lost so much.
Dude, again, you have a plan going in. The second you hit that sand, it goes out the window because I did not plan to go to tribal first, second, third, and fourth. We went to tribal so many times in a row, it was ridiculous. But just losing in general, like I take losing very, very seriously and hard. I mean, you can ask Hunter. We played pickleball for fun in Arizona, and I was on his case about us losing because I hate to lose anything to anybody. So the first couple of days on Yanu was very tough for me, just from a competitive standpoint, just from a want. I wanted to win. I wanted to experience having an idol. I wanted to experience not going to tribal. But I do recognize and understand now that those early moments of going to tribal, of losing, kind of prepared the Yanu 3 really for the game after the merge. If you look at Nami, who never went to tribal, never won, never had to kind of show any allegiance, they kind of killed themselves once we got to the merge. Why? Because they were so eager to start playing, whereas Yanu, we had already started to play. If we could change those roles, I think Yanu would have rather not go to tribal and let Nami take it, let Nami take it the whole way and they can figure out their problems. But it didn't happen that way. And those early days, man, was tough.
Yeah, but do you feel like you were saying that you were already playing the game? Is it better for a group, like a smaller group, to whittle down and get rid of all the people that are not helping, and then you're,
100%. I feel like every tribe has to go to tribal at least once before the merge, because if you don't, you get what you got with Nami, a group of folks who are eager to play, who's going to play too fast. I mean, at 10, had they not sent Soda home, Nami would have had 5 folks still in the game, plus an extra vote. They had the majority. They could have worked this game the way that they wanted, but they were so eager to get rid of one another. But, I mean, we see this a lot, but I've never seen it to where everybody, besides Hunter had a level head when it comes to playing. But, you had folks on the Nami tribe who wanted to send people home based off of screen time. We had folks who didn't like the way somebody laughed or walked or talked. That's crazy. And that's crazy for even me. And I was crazy. I had criteria that I literally, a baby could touch as to why I want to send somebody home. But these folks, I would have never thought to send somebody home based off screen time. That's just not me. Or who ate the most muffins, or regardless of what it is. But I think Nami should have definitely went to tribal at least once. Hunter should have thrown a challenge or two. Dude, come on, man. Read the room.
Yeah.
They don't like you.
So tell me a little bit about that, how you felt like that you could use Banu in your plans, because that was a big part of the first couple
Yeah.
episodes where you really thought that you could take Banu under your wing and mold him into something.
Well, I just felt Banu was loyal to me. You know, Banu, I didn't feel like Banu would ever vote for me. I thought Banu would at least share information that he heard with me. Now, Banu was literally a liability because he could not keep his mouth shut when it was time. Banu had endless opportunities to show us that he could do that, and he failed at every single one of them. But I was okay with it because Banu wasn't sharing any information about me that I felt like others didn't already know. Now, the thing of saying, yeah, me and Tiff was close, I didn't like that, but it didn't bother me as much as it bothered other people. But, you know, I kind of saw the writing on the wall with myself and Kenzie as to our relationship was only going to be as good as a relationship that me and Tiff had. The second me and Tiff fell out, Kenzie and I fell out, which I felt like if it was Banu on the other side, when me and Tiff fell out, I don't think it would have really affected me and Banu's relationship. And I was thinking, you know, hey, I can just use Banu as just my extra vote. I had a secure extra vote.
So there's the point where you guys are going to go to the tribal council, and that's I believe that's also that when you're really hard on yourself that you didn't win that challenge. That's when you're really talking about from back in high school and how you first talked about how you were thinking about, okay, this one's on me. Maybe I should walk away, and then quickly change your mind for that. Could you just talk about then from finding out that you weren't going to tribal council? When you were talking about that you were potentially going to get Kenzie out, what was your reaction to all that?
Yeah, I was upset. I was pissed because that was a shot when the emotions were high. It was plans in play. Now, after the game, it's really, really easy for folks to look back and say, oh no, I would have never done. You don't know what you would have done when your back's up against the wall. And we've talked about one plan, and now it's either you versus. So I can only go back to what I felt was going to happen, what I thought was going to happen. And if they was going to play me, then A, it wasn't shown on the television, nor was I aware of it. But for me, first of all, let me address this. All of the stuff about me being hard on myself, that's just who I am. I'm that person. I'm hard on myself, especially when I feel like it's a role that I should excel in. I should take some heat. There was not an attempt to quit. There was an attempt to take responsibility and say, look, I'm part of this problem as well. Look at me. You know what I mean? So that was my attempt. But as far as the tribal and Randon being sent home and not going to, I think that changed the course. And then the very next day, when Banu actually came up and he was like, guys, I have something else to tell you. This is what I said as well on the journey. That really turned Tiff off because Tiff had no reason really to be turned off before that moment because she didn't even know Banu told them about me and her being close and the things that he said about Kenzie. So there was no reason for us to say, oh no, we can't trust Banu. We talked to Banu, Tiff talked to Banu, and at that time, I thought in that moment that we were on board with keeping Banu because we felt Banu was a bigger, stronger player as far as being able to help in a challenge if it was physical. And that was going to be the reasons. But also, you know, Tiffany used to always come back to me and tell me every single thing that Kenzie was saying as far as, hey, Q, Kenzie, she always asking if we're good. She don't trust your word. This is some of the things that she's telling Tiffany that Tiffany is always coming back telling me. But if you could see when we were watching it, there were things that I would say about Kenzie that when Kenzie walked up, Tiff didn't share with Kenzie. Why is that? So a lot of folks ask, well, hey, Tiff, who would you have voted for? Who would you would have? Of course, look how the season played out. It will make somebody say, no, I definitely wouldn't have went with Q. But up until that point, she had no reason not to. Mm-hmm. Well, what, she was going to vote me out? No way. If it got down to 3, she was going to go into a challenge with her and Kenzie. Think about it. That wasn't going to happen. But, it is what it is.
Okay. I want to talk about, or actually, is there anything else from your days at Yanu that you want to let people know that we might not already have heard from anybody?
No, I think we talked about the whole Zelensky thing
Yeah,
already.
back in the exit interview. Yeah.
Yeah. That was already addressed. Zelensky knows how that went down. I know how it went down. So I don't think we need to talk about Yanu much more, other than the fact that we were really close. Everybody on Yanu for a split second.
Mm-hmm.
The Jess vote. I really what we don't know about when Jess went home. Well, I mean, when Zelensky went home was, see, Kenzie and Tiffany was not on board really to vote Zelensky. I did the pushing, which it showed that, but it was to the point to where I told them they can vote Zelensky if they want, but me, Jess, and Banu was going to be writing down Zelensky anyways. So he had enough folks to send him home, but they didn't show that, which is fine. I mean, you got the picture of it when it showed that, I was behind that vote, but
yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about the 6, and I thought the 6 was such an interesting idea, and I know it didn't work, and you all laugh about it now because of how it played out for all of you. But on paper, I think this is a very interesting idea. Do you feel like that it could work in a different situation?
I do. So the 6 was my attempt again to try to get some threats through the door towards the end of the game so we could have a very competitive game towards the end. And what happened was the 6 would have worked. The only problem was, I was stubborn as crap. I will say that. And I was very adamant and vocal about, if somebody brings up someone's name in the 6, they're done. They're dead to me. And when Tiff brought up Maria's name, right then and there, I had to make a decision to these other 4 people. Do I stand on what I said, or do I make an excuse for Tiff? And in that moment, looking back on it, I should have maybe went to Tiff and just talked to her a little more about it and tried to get the group to understand. The real problem was the Tevin vote. We should have fought like crap, the 6 of us, to keep Tevin. But that's when I realized that some folks in the 6 were terrified of competition going to the end. They wanted the safest, easiest route, which is okay. That is how some folks have played the game. That is how you can almost guarantee yourself a victory at the end. But that's when I started to realize that some of the folks in my 6 do not care about that. They want to go against the easiest people possible. That's why I was so easy to say, you know what, let's just get rid of them and cut them off.
Okay, so when you all got on the beach together, you really seemed to zone in on Mariah. You felt like that Mariah was somebody that you thought she was gonna. She really knew her stuff, and you didn't want anything to do with her. Was there anything else about Mariah that we didn't get to see? Why you felt like that she was the person that had to go?
No, so me and Mariah had a conversation, private, which it kind of was brought up during tribal. Whereas I asked Mariah a simple question, because I knew at that point what happened. All right. So I said, hey, how did the last Seeger vote go? She was like, oh, it was anonymous. But I had already knew that 2 people voted for Ben. So I was like, are you sure? She was like, yes. That's when I knew, okay, she's going to lie to me, even knowing that her name is on the chopping block. Even after knowing I'm the person that's putting it there, I'm coming to you, because at that point I was pissed off at Venus, because I had just went to Venus and was like, Venus, look, your name is up. I'm going to make sure you don't go home. Mariah's going to be the vote. Just play it cool. Venus went around the camp and caused so much chaos that made me say, you know what, screw Venus. So I went to Mariah and just was like, okay, let me just see if she's somebody I can trust. And I asked her that question and she lied to me. So that's when I was like, nope, out of here. She has to go. And I was adamant about getting her out at that point in time, because, she did remind me of Aubrey. And then when we get there, and I said this before the merge, Mariah reminds me of Aubrey. And when I asked her who was her favorite player, and she said Aubrey, I was like, oh, heck no. She's out of here. So it was just one of those things.
If Mariah tells you how the Sega Tribal Council went, she tells you the truth, does
Yep.
she stay and Venus goes home?
She probably stays
Wow.
because I would look at that as okay, when no one else is around, she told me the truth. There would be something that I can use there to say, you know what, Mariah, hey, I saved you. I changed that vote. I trust you. You trust me. Maybe she would have played me crazy. I don't know. But I know for a fact when she lied to me, I knew then it was no dice. Maybe she tell the truth because I was pissed off at Venus. I really was. I'm trying to stick my neck out there and make sure you don't go home and you go and cause all this chaos. If the chaos comes back, oh, the Q came and actually told me the vote, which Tiffany kind of, I don't know if you remember, we was talking at the water well, and then Tiffany came up and was like, Venus, your name is up, girl. Either you vote for Mariah or you'll go home. That kind of was too aggressive because I hadn't yet kind of told Venus about who else's name was up. And that kind of threw a wrench in what I was trying to do. But then Venus just, again, went around and started causing all kind of craziness.
Okay. This split tribal council that happens, this is where things really start to get very crazy in the Survivor 46 game. Okay. So with the group that you're with, just as a thought experiment, if Kenzie doesn't win immunity with your group, is there a chance that she goes home?
So if before the challenge even took place, I woke up that morning, and because Tim, Tevin, and we had a conversation, and Tim was constantly pushing, it has to be a NAMI next. It has to be a NAMI next. And I was like, man, I agree with you. We're cool with that. But I was like, in the event, any NAMI, I'm thinking about any NAMI can go. And I said, anybody that's not part of the 6 can leave, bro. I don't care. But he was like, yeah, it has to be a NAMI. And I asked him, I said, Tim, are you playing a Seagull game or are you playing the game with the 6? And he was like, I'm playing the game with the 6. But I could see the inconsistencies with Tim where he was trying to play both sides. So I told everybody, Tevin, Hunter, a lot of people, I was like, Tim got to go tonight. Like, if he don't win, he's out of here. I didn't even know we was going to do a split. So when we did the split, it was one of those things where, okay, I was like, I went into that went into that challenge saying, I know for a fact I don't want to win this first immunity challenge after the vote, because then folks start to realize, oh man, if Q can win one, he have a necklace. We don't know when he's going to lose another one. So the first time I lose, they probably be targeting me. So I did not want to win there, regardless if it was split or all 12 of us together. So when I jumped off of my platform, which I swear to you guys, I intentionally came off, I jumped off on Tim's side to try to make him fall because I did not want Tim to have an opportunity to win. But if Kenzie did not have the necklace, I would have at least listened to Tim's request to vote out somebody that's not in the 6 that was not being, but I was not having it trying to get Hunter out. So if Kenzie wasn't safe and he would have said, well, Q, you say anybody in the 6 is not part of the 6, I probably would have went with them to get Kenzie out at that time, but I was not interested in getting anybody out part of my 6 other than Tim.
At the final tribal council, it was still being discussed of how did the vote end up being Tim and not Ben? From your perspective, how did that go?
Oh, it was real simple. So I went to them and I told everybody before the thing it was Tim. But then when we were on the Seagull Beach and we were split, this was me trying to give a little bit. So I was asking Tiff who she wanted, and she would say Ben. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll go Ben. But then she would say, well, I think Ben has an idol. So I was like, okay, so do we go Tim or do we go Ben? I want to go Tim. And she was like, I don't know. I was like, oh my God, we can't make decisions. You say you want Ben, right? Yes. Okay, let's go Ben then. Oh no. I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm going Tim regardless. So it was never a conversation between Kenzie and that day, Tiffany and Kenzie went off, and Tiff was pissed off at me because she felt like I wasn't listening. I wasn't giving her a voice, but I was listening. She said she wanted to go Ben. I was like, okay, cool. I'll go Ben then. If you want to go Ben Tip, I will go Ben just to make you happy. Because at that point in time, they knew all of the votes of every tribal council that I went to, the people that went home, they went home because I said so. Mm-hmm. They started to pick up on it. Even Charlie said that, like, man, Q is running the show. So I wanted to kind of give to Tiff a little bit at that point in time. But then when she was indecisive, I was just like, nah, screw it, we're just going to go Tim.
At that tribal council where Tim went home, you made a very big statement talking about what a great job Kenzie is doing. Was that sincere, or were you trying to paint a target on her back?
No, so that was very sincere. That was me just recognizing and wanting Kenzie to feel good and also understand that, hey, I see you. I appreciate you. You're as important as Tiffany is to me. And everything, because I can start to hear like, okay, Q look out for Tiffany, but he's not going to look out for me as much. So I wanted to let her know that, hey, amongst all of us Giants, you was the winner. You should feel proud about yourself. And she was going back and forth because she had built the relationship with Ben on siding with Ben and Tim potentially. I just wanted her to feel really, really good about herself and what we were building. But it was very sincere. I was so proud of her in that moment because going into that challenge, I mean, to be honest, I didn't think Kenzie was going to win. I don't think anybody did. So when she pulled it out, as far as all the folks that were on her tribe, I was like, wow, congrats. That was amazing to watch and see. And you are a strong woman. And you can hold your own. So that was very sincere.
Okay. So you had said, from my interview with Tevin, he had said that you told him, make sure you vote out Venus tonight. Yes. And he said that then he didn't want to do that because that he didn't like that you were telling him what to do. When Venus comes back instead of Soda, were you annoyed?
I was shocked. And I did not know the reasoning until really after the game. So as Tevin was getting out of the water, I pull him up and I'm whispering in his ear, vote V, vote V. He was like, all right, cool. Then after the game, I found out that he was like, man, I did not want to vote Venus because you told me to vote Venus. And at that point in time, if we both made it to the end of the game, I didn't want you to be able to have to say that you told me to vote this way and I did, which I respect all of that. But when we voted Soda out, well, when they voted Soda out, because I wasn't there, what that did was that got rid of somebody that everybody thought was winnable. I mean, just her story, the way she carried herself, she sung, she was so likable. It got rid of that. Everybody at that point in time, by that point, was like, can't trust Venus, can't trust Venus. Just get rid of Venus, keep Soda in the mix, somebody that everybody wants to get rid of. And maybe the next tribal, instead of Tevin going home, maybe it's Soda. And now it gives us time to really let this six start to form. I think the six didn't even have an opportunity to really vote together and form. With that split, we could not show to see who was really part of it because both sides were separate. On Tevin's standpoint, he said, I just wanted to make sure Maria stayed intact. And then you told me you was voting out Tim. This way, he told me when he came back. You told me you was voting out Tim. And I knew we was going to try to bring in Charlie. So I wanted to keep Charlie so we can have a complete six again, which I was like, pretty cool. But I didn't know that he didn't do it because I told him to.
So you played hide and seek with everybody in this time in the game. Was there anything else that you did that was like hide and seek that we didn't see in the episodes that you did to try to test the other players?
Yeah, so we did, of course, we did the ABC game. We did hide and seek. And something that y'all did not see in the ABC game was Tim went on for like 5 minutes, just giving everybody shout outs. He was like, shout out to this person for this.
Uncle Poo Poo?
Everything. Not even Uncle Poo Poo. He was calling like Maria and her kids, Jess, and just everything. Not Jess, what's the girl's name? Liz and her kid. And he had just met these people the day before. But he remembered like their kid's name, their spouse's name, their girlfriend's name. He remembered all this stuff about these people. And then I was like, damn, this dude's good. He has a great memory. He's connecting with people, obviously, in a way that I'm not. So that really edged him out for real. But then we had hide and seek. So a lot of people, they thought that I was burning all the firewood, but all I was doing was picking it up and throwing it, when they were asleep, picking it up, throwing it back in the woods. So when they wake up, they would have to go out, find it again. And if I had to go out and find some more, I could easily just go pull this stuff that I threw back in. But they thought that I was burning through it really, really fast. But I wasn't, because I was the person that said I would stay up and tend to the fire every night. But it was because I wanted that opportunity to do that.
Why did you throw the firewood back into the woods? Was it to go look for an idol?
It was more so for, they thought that I was doing more work than I was doing. Meaning when I go and I get the firewood I just threw back out there and I bring it, they thinking, okay, Q just went and found a lot of firewood. But then also when we're down and low on firewood, they will have to go out and try to find some more to bring it back. And it got people moving out of camp and around, so conversations would happen. But at nighttime, they thought that I was burning through it fast, and I wasn't.
Okay. So you said the Tevin vote. This is where it all fell apart. So tell me about, from your perspective, how that whole day went.
Yeah. So we come back from the challenge, and first of all, 2 or 3 people come up to me and tell me, hey, it's Tevin. At that vote, we were going to blindside Tiffany. A lot of us was on board. And then I realized quickly that the entire beach had flipped to Tevin. Don't know why. So I go and figure that out. And in the midst of it, me and Tiff cross paths. I'm still trying to push Tiff. But then at that point, I'm like, well, crap, if it's not going to happen, I don't want to waste a vote on Tiff to alert her because she has an idol. So now I'm trying to fix and go and protect Hunter. There was a whole day of Q trying to protect everybody. So now I'm going to Hunter. I say, Hunter, unless you have an idol that I didn't know he had out there, which he did have, I said, unless you have an idol, bro, everybody has flipped on us and Tevin is going home. Hunter lied. He said he didn't have an idol. That was issue number 1. If Tevin is in your 6, Tevin is your right-hand man, you brought him in, you know he's about to go home. If you're not willing to stick up for him in that way and play an idol for him, he wasn't going to be willing to stick up for me neither. But I know that after the fact. But in the fact, in the game, what was going on was, I'm trying to go and tell Hunter, look, let's just change the vote. It is what it is, unless you can save him, because I don't have anything to save him. Let's just keep it simple, then we can come back. Well, Hunter then goes to Liz, who then's crying. So it's this whole thing. So I'm running around to people. I'm trying to get the vote changed from Tevin, not even to Tiff at this point, to like Venus or somebody. Because we were all talking, like 5 or 6 of us, and Venus was like, hello, I get my time to talk to y'all as well. You can't just sit there and group and exclude me. Then I was like, you know what? Let's just vote her. Like, she's annoying, but I'm trying to just get the vote off Tevin as best I could. Something I wish I would have done, or somebody would have done, was told Tevin, dude, your name is up. Because he could have helped cause a lot more chaos than what was caused. But I felt like then that's when the 6 was done. Because if Maria was part of the 6, it's okay with voting Tevin. Tiffany is okay with voting Tevin. We already sent Tim home. Then Charlie, who's now in the 6, if he's okay with voting, that's three people within the 6 that's saying, okay, let's vote Tevin. It's hard to change that. So that's when I knew then the 6 was no mas.
At what point did you decide that you were going to say that it should be you at the tribal council?
So it was so crazy, man. It was, it was after lockdown, and I did that because I was running back and forth up and down the beach, and I got up there to where I was telling people, let's vote Venus. I was finna run back to the top. It was 3 or 4 people up there talking, and I was just gonna let them know, man, everybody down there is cool, but they shut the beach down before I get there. So now I'm like, oh man, I just told this group, which was Maria and all these people, to vote one way. And I got this group that I've said one thing to. It's all over the place. And that's when I was like, going to try it off, like, man, I got to try to do something. It's my fault. Damn. Again, taking the blame for folks, offering it up. Don't mean you have to do it. Not meaning I want to quit. But it's like I screwed up plans. And at that point, Tiff was like, I'm going to play my idol. I knew she didn't need to. But now it's me trying to go back and rekindle and fix stuff with Tiff. And I don't want it to come out that, oh, Q was actually targeting Tiff. So I'm trying to figure out a way to make all that happen at once and cause some confusion. And then at tribal, that's when I was like, you know what? Right before I got there, I was like, I'm just going to offer myself up and see what's up. It is what it is.
Yeah. Who were you feeling bad for that you wanted to take the blame at that tribal council? Was it Hunter? Was it Tevin? Was it Liz?
Yeah. So it was Liz. So because I felt like I screwed Liz plan up, which she was adamant about doing something, by telling Hunter. But then also, again, I was thinking like, dang, I've told Maria, because even at that tribal council, I asked, I said, Maria, are you confused based on who I told you to vote for? She was like, Q, if I'm being honest, yes. And when she said yes, I was like, damn, I know if she's confused, a lot of other folks are confused because I've told them so many different things. And at that point in time, you have to remember, I feel like, and everybody feels like my word has been, boom, the stamp to send folks home. So I'm thinking like, dang, I've told this group one thing, they're going to probably listen. I've told this group another, they're probably going to listen. Now nothing is going to get accomplished. We won't. I don't know which way the vote is going. I didn't want it to swing a way that I didn't want it. So it was a lot going on, and I was trying to do way too much. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So you were doing so much, but really from this point on, you really did change up your game, and you really played a much different game. How conscious of a decision was that?
Yeah. So after that tribal, I knew I was on the hot seat. So I told myself, I need to chill out. I don't want these people to see me. Right. For the most part of those days, I was out there on the beach by myself, just staying quiet as possible, just to give myself an opportunity to maybe make it through a tribal, make it through. And then also to give them a perception of, man, Q is not causing any problems right now. Let's just try to get rid of somebody else, which was the thing. So I was the distraction for 3 tribals in a row. And if you look back on this game, from the start to the finish, up until I got voted out, everybody that got voted out either went home because I said so, or went home because I was the distraction. If I was not in the game, Hunter 1,000% plays his idol. He has no reason not to. If I wasn't in the game, Tiffany plays her idol. If I wasn't in the game, Venus plays her idol. Because I'm there, they don't. And a lot of folks take credit for it, but if you really, really pay attention to it, and a lot of folks in my season recognize it, and they recognized it before it was aired. They was like, man, you controlled almost every single vote. But it was one of those things where I had to change. Because if I didn't, if I would have continued to run around crazy, I would have either alerted the people that was going home, or I would have sent myself home.
Yeah. You lived rent-free in the heads of all the other players.
Yep. The entire time, it was like, dude, you made a big mistake. How you going to fix it? By not making anything in it. But then it started to make them question. Even after I did that, like, folks was coming up to me. They was like, Q, are you okay? Are you still in it? Do you still want to go to? Like, they were questioning whether or not. So it was causing more confusion than what it really showed.
Yeah. Did you act a different way? Did you like really try to like play on their expectations that maybe you did want to go home?
No. So it was very clear to everybody in the entire building that I was fine. Because I told everybody after day like 14 of me just being there and just understanding my life and things that I need to work on just personally once I got home, had nothing to do with the game. I felt like I won. I mean, because I was thinking like, man, I need to do this when I get home. I need to make sure I put my phone away when I'm with my wife. I need to apologize to my wife. I need to apologize to my family for not being there as much as I should be. Blah, blah. Like I had all this stuff that me personally, I felt accomplished enough to say, you know what? If I go home, I go home. And everybody knew that I did not care about going home. Like going home did not bother me like it would someone else. Everybody else heard their name come up, they would panic. I heard my name come up, I'm like, I don't care. Vote me if you want. Which then made them not even want to vote me because they knew it wasn't going to affect me the way that they thought it would. So, but I didn't want to go home. I wanted to win. I promise you. And I had everything I had my entire story ready to be told as to why I should win. As far as being at the top, being knocked all the way down to the bottom, to climb, to make it to the end, that's something that should be rewarded in that game. And to play it on my terms. I didn't play Maria's game. I didn't play Charlie's game. I didn't play Liz's game. I played the way I wanted. A lot of folks say, Q, you should have, knowing that you was on the hot seat and Liz was upset, you should have taken Liz on Applebee's. Q didn't want to take Liz. There was nothing Liz could have said, done, or offered that would have made me take her. In fact, people offered up their spot to Liz. And I said, no. I was like, if you want to go back over there, go back over there and I'll pick somebody different. Somebody else who was now have poked their head out a little too much, they might just give in and say, you know what? I don't want to cause any more ruckus if they want to give it up. But me, I was like, no, not happening. Same thing with the rock, paper, scissors thing. Liz told me to pick rock. I was like, pick rock? Okay, I know what you're picking. Bam. Scissors. Send her back to camp. I go eat 23 slices of pizza. You know what I mean? But somebody else might have been like, man, it's a lot of heat on me. I don't want to cause any more problems. I'm just going to pick rock. That ain't me. I ain't doing that.
Yeah. All right. Tell me a little bit about where you were in the Hunter vote, because it feels like that there were a lot of different plans that were going on. There were people that were trying to go after Tiffany. Ultimately, it goes on Hunter. A couple of people were still gunning for you. I think you voted for Ben. So can you tell us about that day?
Yeah. So what really happened was, I told Hunter that I wouldn't write his name down. And I meant that. I wasn't going to do it. But the problem was, so what everybody don't know, there was never a tribal that I did not know where the votes were going. Maria used to come up and tell me everything that was happening because she was still in the know. She was right in the middle of all those plans. She would come up, tell me where those votes were going. So I knew that they didn't have enough votes to send me home. But what Hunter screwed up on, they were only putting one vote on me before the Hunter thing. If Hunter had an idol, which he did have one, me and him could have decided who went home. But when he went, Hunter started to tell Venus, he told Liz, oh, I have an idol. That made everybody else change their plan, and they put 2 extra votes on me. Then Hunter changed his vote to me. That's what gave it 4-4. They were only putting 1 vote on me. So if Hunter would have just came to me, I could have told him that, but he didn't trust that I was telling him the truth. You know what I'm saying? So he went to Liz and Venus. Why would you go to Venus and trust Venus before you trust me? Well, we from Mississippi. Come on, bro. So Venus and Liz immediately, boom, Hunter tells them he got an idol, he's playing it. They shoot to everybody else and tell them. So I was on board with just saying, you know what? I know the math. I know who they really want going home. And I thought, okay, if I don't write Hunter's name down, I can make it to the end. At least I can bring it up to say, bro, you changed up on me. I stayed true to you. I was willing to play with you. I was willing to do the plan to make sure you don't go home. I was going to be able to tell that story to make sure I at least had a shot at getting Hunter's vote, because I knew they didn't have enough. They was going to tie, and I knew after the retie, they wanted to send Hunter's home. That's why every single tribal council, a lot of folks like, Q is like very confident. I'm arguing back and forth with people. It's because A, I knew where the votes were going, but B, I just didn't give a shit.
All right. You already were talking about Applebee's. You know, it was such a big moment in the season when you and Liz, when Liz was yelling about all of that. After the season was over, Liz revealed she was not actually a millionaire. And that was something that you two had bonded over seemingly on the island, about how you both came from humble beginnings and then had found a lot of success in life. And then what was that like for you to find out that maybe that was not actually the case?
No. So let me just clear this up. So Liz and I and in the game, I literally told almost everybody that Liz was not a millionaire. And it was because of our conversation that we had. So Liz and I, we were sitting by the boat, and she was telling me, you know, hey, I have 10,000 subscribers. They pay me $9 a month. And I was like, okay, Liz, that's awesome. You know, that's 90 grand a month. That's over $1 million a year. I was like, so what do you do with your money? And then when she was like, oh, nothing. I just let it sit in the bank. I said, so, and I was like, wait, huh? So she was like, no, I pay myself $70,000 a year. And then all of my other money, I just let it sit in one account. I said, so how long have you been doing that? She said, a couple of years. So I was like, so you got $2 or $3 million just sit in a bank account? She was like, yes. I knew then she was not a millionaire. Because let me just tell you this. You got $2 or $3 million sitting in one account at a bank. The bank is calling you because they're only insured up to $250,000 of each account. So they're going to call you, hey, do you want to do something different with the money? So then I was like, something's not adding up. But then she was like, yeah, I pay myself $70,000 a year so I could save money on my taxes, and all of the other money I just put in an account so I'm not taxed on it. And I'm like, first of all, I have an accounting background, and for the last 5 years, I've been doing this seriously. I was like, Liz, you do understand just putting it in the account doesn't save you on taxes, right? So that's when I knew. I was like, this girl is lying. She's not a millionaire. So I started telling everybody, like, this is going to be her story at the end. She's going to say that she was not a millionaire. She was poor. And everybody, literally, you can ask anybody, they called it and tried it. It was like, I bet she say that she's not a millionaire. I was like, I already told y'all she's going to say that. I already, you know this. And then when she finally said it, we was just like, dude, come on. Come on. You can't do that. But we did bond over the fact that she was an entrepreneur. She's trying. But I knew she was, and you don't have to be a millionaire to bond with me. I'm not saying that, but just her ability to start a business. And she says she came from nothing. But I use hey, you say you came from nothing. I came from nothing, but you're gunning at me because I'm getting my way in the game. That's not what we do, Liz. And we had that conversation it was in the deleted scenes.
Yeah.
We had that conversation. I'm just like, just ask me anything that you want to know. You don't understand my game. We both come from nothing. We should be bonding versus pulling each other apart. And that was at the Venus vote where she came to me and she was just like, Q, I just want you to know our beef is settled. I'm not voting for you tonight. I'm going to vote V. I was like, cool. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
I thought.
All right. When you went to Applebee's, you had a plan. You pitched to Tiffany and to Kenzie, hey, let's get the band back together. Let's do this. And they were like, I don't think so. But were you sincere? Were you up for doing that?
So I really was. And let me just tell you this. I picked Tiffany seriously because I wanted Tiffany there. I wanted to try to rekindle their relationship. I picked Kenzie simply because I didn't want Kenzie back at camp kind of trashing me. But also I had already told Kenzie that I would take her if I was to ever win, something like that. So I wanted to just kind of rekindle that. But I brought Maria strictly because I knew if I'm not around and these girls say something, she's going to tell me. And I was sincere about getting us back together. And then as soon as I left, I had to go take a number 2, and I left. They started to talk. Maria told me immediately, she was like, as soon as you left, they started talking crap about how they still don't trust you. It was like, dude, you just brought them on Applebee's. And that's when I knew, like, okay, cool. Tiffany and I and Kenzie, we're not on the same page. We're not going to work together no matter how much they tell me. And it was so funny because it was Tiffany and I sitting underneath the flag, and Charlie was talking to us. And I saw Tiffany, like she was like, I was like, let's just vote. I'm still playing Tiffany at this point. I'm making her think, okay, Q thinks that it's still the Seager 3 and us going after Nami now. So I'm like, man, let's just vote Venus. And I see Tiffany doing this right here to Charlie. So Charlie was like, I see her. So I'm like, this girl think I'm a
It's a
fool.
wink for anybody listening to the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, this girl think I'm a fool, but we're really playing her. But in the midst, I was just like, cool, we're going to play with it. Then Charlie came up after. He was like, did you see her winking at me? I was like, yeah, I saw her winking at you. Like, it's still Tiff. So we blindside Tiff that night. So.
Okay. So Charlie and Maria famously had a big breakup in the season, But Q, did you play an active role at all in being a wedge in between Charlie and Maria?
I think I did. I think Charlie saw how close Maria and I was getting, and we were really close. But also, Charlie's a very smart player. Charlie had an opportunity to say he could go with them or go with us. The wedge really came, I think, when Charlie realized that Maria was then working with me to get rid of him. Because we told Kenzie and Liz, I'm sure that they told him, oh no, Maria and Q pitched you to us. And that really just opened that door. I think if the conversation would have just came from me and not Maria, they all probably would have just voted the opposite direction, which Maria had the necklace. If Maria didn't have the necklace, they probably would have voted Maria out that night and used me again as a distraction, which would have been a big mistake because I had that pocket rocket in my pocket and I was going to play it the next day. So, but I do think Maria and our relationship kind of played a part, but it was also them starting to target each other and them both knowing that that's happening is which really what caused that wedge.
Is there anything from the Venus vote that was interesting in terms of the role that you played?
Yeah. So going into the Venus vote, what most folks, I guess, don't know is Kenzie was the backup vote. I was supposed to vote Kenzie along with Ben, who also voted Kenzie. And I know Ben has stuck to this story about it was a mistake. I promise you, it was not a mistake. We talked about putting 2 votes on Kenzie, me and Ben. But what happened was we got the tribal. This is Q doing Q again. And Venus coming and talking. I was like, man, screw her. I'm voting Venus. I didn't tell anybody. I just did it. But I didn't tell Ben. So Ben also voted Kenzie like he was supposed to, just in the event that Venus actually had something. Because they thought Charlie had a conversation with her, which we saw, that made him think maybe Venus had something or something. And so we was like, we're just going to protect it. We'll put 2 votes on Kenzie. If Venus plays something, Kenzie will go home because I would have only had 1 vote. And if she would have played her shot in the dark, I would have had no votes. And that's why I'm thinking, I'm like, she's just going to play her shot in the dark. I didn't think she had an item. So I was like, I'll just vote Venus. And if she plays her shot in the dark and safe, I won't have a vote. And at least Kenzie still will. Kenzie will go home. The problem is Venus and I, we should have really put our differences to the side and worked to try to get one of them. Looking back on it. Now, in the game, there was no part of me thinking work with Venus. Because at that point, I was pitching the Seagull 3 plus me. And then I was also just saying, hey, if I can make it to 5, I had this whole theory. And Survivor knows. I was like, since from the merge, before the merge, I was like, if I can make it to the merge, I just have to make it to 10. If I can make it to 10, I can make it to 7. If I can make it to 7, I'm gonna try to make it to 5. And I said, if I make it to 5, I can make it to 3. That was my thinking. So when I didn't play my idol at 6, it was a thing of me just trying to guarantee myself to 3 from my 5 vote. And I was playing too far ahead. But I will say this. I put way too much trust, but I can't say this as well because all that trust that I did put in didn't fail me up until this point. But I put way too much trust into Maria actually having those girls. I should have been listening more, watching more, paying attention. I thought Maria had those girls like, boom, this. I should have understood these girls just went with Charlie on a reward. They probably talked. But see, to Charlie's really defense is, he came back and I asked him, I said, what did they talk about? He was like, of course they talked about you, but that's what they always have to talk about. But I understood that to be, okay, if they're talking about me, they didn't tell him about potentially us voting him. He didn't give that off at all. So I was thinking, okay, Maria might have these girls. I might be able to sneak through one more, blindside Charlie. But then I also thought at that point, Charlie was the best pick to send home because regardless of what we felt, Charlie hadn't pissed off any jury member. He was like, Charlie had won 2 immunities at that point. Q pissed everybody off. I hadn't won anything but a reward. No way they voting for me. I thought that's where we were, but I underestimated how much they still disliked me as a person, a player, that I did not put my idol out. But I said before I ever went to tribal, I wasn't playing my idol.
Okay, now everything from your boot we talked about in the exit interview.
Yeah.
So I'd like to skip ahead to the final tribal council, and a lot was made after the final tribal council. That were you aware that your final tribal council question ended up being somewhat controversial? I feel like that many people talked about how, like, wait, hold on. Well, why does what somebody's going to have to do with the money? Why should that be part of how people decide what to do?
Right. So I didn't know it was going to cause that much controversy outside of the game. I do know that my question changed not only my vote, but somebody else's vote. They were sitting right next to me. And I won't out this person, just, but okay. I vocally said, I was like, dude, I'm not voting for Charlie anymore. I was voting for Charlie going into it, I promise. I was sitting right there. I was like, I'm not voting for Charlie. They was like, wait, really? I was like, yeah, he's opening a charity with our money for us, and he's mentioning his girlfriend. I was like, I'm not voting for Charlie. And this person was like, okay. Liz then said, oh, wait, no, this is supposed to be a individual vote. How are they discussing who they're going to vote for? Boom. So I think my question not only raised a lot of questions outside of the game, but inside of the game, it changed multiple votes as well.
Sure. But you were a Charlie vote up until that point.
I was a Charlie vote up until that point. And I'm not sure if it aired or not, but like Charlie's question, his response to my question, to me, rubbed me the wrong way when he was like, I'm going to open a charity in all of you guys' name and donate. And then the very first thing that he said was, I'm going to give my girlfriend some money. And to me, having 4 sisters, having a mom, I was like, your girlfriend before your mom, whoever else, that was a no for me. I was out. I was like.
So was it more that Charlie had the wrong answer, more so than Kenzie had the right answer?
I think it was more so. And also keep this in mind too. I went into that tribal really not knowing a lot about either player, because I felt like Charlie and Kenzie both were similar in a lot of ways inside the game, because something that we don't see is, when Charlie didn't have the necklace, he was very timid. He was very quiet. He was not as aggressive. I picked up on that. And same thing with Kenzie. But another thing was, so when Charlie said that him, Ben, Liz, and Kenzie made this 4-pack at 8, it made me second guess everything that he was telling us, because I know that didn't happen, because at 7, the second vote was going to be for Kenzie. So I was like, at what point did y'all make this 4 at 8? Why did you vote for Kenzie at 7 if that was a thing? So at that point in time, I thought, okay, I don't know what's true. I think this guy's lying to me. Screw it. I'm a vote based. And I told them before the question, I'm voting, me specifically, off of my question and my question only. That is how I'm voting. And that's so it's not like they didn't know. I told them. And so I think it was more so of the combination of that, but also Kenzie's question. I mean, it really hit me knowing that she could just be brutally honest. And I kind of felt what it feels like to say, you know what? I just need a fresh start. I need a fresh start. I've worked all my life as hard as I could. I need some cushion. I want to start a family. And I know that feeling. So I was like, boom, that resonates. Okay. But let's back up. I'm not the first person to vote based off of people what they're going to do with the money.
It's going back to the first and second season of the show. People have always asked this question. So I didn't think you asked anything that was out of bounds. All right, Q, we're running out of time. The Q-Meos still going strong, right?
They booming. They are booming. Let me just say this. As long as the Q-Meos booming, Q is giving away $20,000 to his favorite contestant Starting with season 47.
Starting with season 47. Okay. How will you decide it? Will there be one question that, like, how you decide your final
I'm
tribal
gonna
council?
watch it. I'm going to watch the season. I'm going to do sort of to what Sia does.
Yes.
I'm going to pick my favorite based on what I feel like is my criteria. So if you're out there and you're playing aggressive and you're playing fun and you're not allowing people to kind of mute you and you're doing your, I don't care if you go out first, second, third, fourth, fifth, or make it all the way to the end. You're eligible to win Q's money as long as the QBOs are still booming, and they booming still right now.
All right. Anything else you want to let people know, Q?
No, man, I absolutely love y'all. If you're not subscribed and tuned in until Rob has a podcast, you better get so. Because I'm going to be honest, when I did my Q about Rob, I didn't know. But now I know. And he's awesome, man. I love it.
Q, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for making this time. This was a really good chat, very informative. So really, thank you again for making the time, and all the best to you and the baby on the way.
38 weeks pregnant, man. The baby can be here any day. So y'all say a prayer for my wife and I. Baby Ace is on the way.
Yeah. Okay. That's my sister's baby's name. So good one.
Really?
All right. Yep. Q,
oh, wow.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye. All right, everybody. There you have it. Q Burdette. And what a value that you all got here for free today. Do you know how much the street value of an hour with Q would be over on Qmeo? So I really appreciate Q making the time to talk with us about everything. So many interesting things about, especially there at the end, talking about how Q decided to vote for Kenzie in case instead of Charlie. I mean, this was such a razor thin outcome of the season that it really did. That final tribal council maybe could have been the most important final tribal council that we've ever had on Survivor, where it just seems like the outcome flipped and flopped a couple different times just based on the answer to questions, which as a Survivor fan, I think that's what we want in the final tribal council, that it's so fluid going in, that the answers that people gave really did shift the perception of the jury and how they were feeling about all of these people that made it to the end of the game. So really interesting stuff. Very fascinating about how Q didn't buy that Liz was a millionaire. So really very interesting stuff. Next post-game interview that we are going to have for you is going to be with Ben Katzman, and hopefully we will have that for you in the next couple of days. So be on the lookout. Make sure you're subscribed. And again, I love to get your feedback on these interviews. So please leave us your comments over on our YouTube channel at robiswebsite.com/YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to Rob's the Podcast at robiswebsite.com/subscribe. Thank you again so much for listening. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.